I think we're live. I think we're live because I can see live at the top.
All right, so I trust we are live now. And good afternoon, everyone. Myself is Usman Saleem, and I'm a senior project manager at Raqtan Group. And along with me, I have another speaker, Sidra Pasha. Sidra, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. So this is Sidra. I am basically based in the UAE, working for Talabat MENA as the regional project management, and I'm looking forward to this session with you, Usman. I think Ghassan is somewhat trying to join us, but is not able to. So I think
Right,
we
no
should
problem. I think he should be joining us in a while as soon as he have the better connectivity.
better internet connectivity. Yeah.
Indeed, yeah. So, guys, today's session basically is about digital project management, and we have seen that this digital project management is, it is a term that has been increasingly flowing into the market, and in our numbers of read, we have seen that in various articles, in various posts, in various discussions, people are basically talking about this digital project management, like what digital project management is, how can you enter into this career, and what is it, what how different this digital project management is from the traditional project management, and how it has facilitated the businesses in the COVID. So these are the kind of discussions that we will be doing today in this session along with Siddharth. So the very first question that we have in my mind, that is, what is digital project management? So when we say digital project management, and in order to understand the terminology or this broader term, we have to go back little to the traditional project
Traditional
management
side.
definition.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the traditional project management, we all are aware of the concept and the basic fundamental of the project itself and the project management itself, right? And what is happening? So no matter what industry you are working for, if you are working for software industry, if you're working for construction industry, if you're working in the aviation industry, if you're working in any kind of industry, of course you will be following a certain methodology, which is guided certain methodology guided by the PMI. And of course, this methodology would remain same for all the industries, right? If any industry you work on, the traditional PMI project management methodology will remain same. But when we talk about when we talk about digital project management, there's a slight different in this
Yeah.
term. How? So in the project management, or if you are doing the project management, there are chances that whatever your end product is, it could be either online product, online solution, or it could not, right? There are given chances. For example, if you are following project management in aviation industry, right, though you are critically using the technology, but the end result is not something that you can use online. All right, similarly
True.
in the construction industry, you are following the project management tools and the methodologies and the applications, but obviously the end result is not about using
Yeah.
building or the construction site online. So here's the main difference, with this terminology, digital project management. So when you talk about digital project management, it means that you are working something that goes that could actually facilitate the end user to work simultaneously on a single platform. It means a solution that facilitates multiple users to work on that on a single go. It is based on complete online solution, right? That can be used by numbers of users at the same time, or it could be used by minimum number of users at a time. So, and how digital project management facilitate into that, it basically, though all the principles, all the methodologies, all the applications, you have to follow from the traditional, you have to follow from the traditional perspective, but the only difference is that your end product is basically a digital solution that can be used by a variety of users, and
Yeah.
that is facilitated or supported by the internet connectivity.
Talking about internet connectivity, I think Ghassan is still struggling. Okay, that's really cool. I think there's one more thing when you talk about, I think, techniques and traditional techniques. One thing that I learned, I'm not sure about you, but I'm sure you can comment on this, was about how are you delivering certain projects in an agile manner, and how you are delivering them in a waterfall approach. So I think we can probably discuss something about that as well. Like in the waterfall approach, it's more like collaborative, and it's like step by step. Like you phase out different stages, and like you start with the conception or with discovery, and then you move forward with every other function or department that you're working with, like cross functional teams. But when there are certain projects which are agile, and when the client wanted it yesterday, like we call it as a proverb, we used to then rely really much on dedicated resources, put them in a squad kind of setup, and they were dedicatedly working for x number of days simultaneously. So there was little gap, and there was collaborative work, brainstormings, and trying to figure it out, the client's requirements or the brief, and then deliver it in a very rushed manner. So that is what we also kind of figured out. Okay, how to manage in the digital environment, how to manage certain things, and come up with prototypes, and then test it with the consumers or something like that before even launching it. So I think I don't know about you, but this is what we've done for certain banking applications, and for some, like in the past, I was also working for an agency, so I had different clients. So and then
Absolutely.
now, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. I
if
agree.
yeah,
I agree with you, Sidra. So basically, what happens? Uh, we have seen that, before Agile, of course, we have been using the waterfall methodology extensively, right?
yeah,
And though it commonly follows, the SGLC, the normal SGLC,
exactly,
software development life cycle, but with the evolution of Agile, and it depends obviously on the nature of the project as well. So if the project
definitely.
and the sponsor allows you to go, to adopt the Agile methodology, then definitely you should go for it. And of course, there are I would say,
Pros and
advantages.
cons.
Obviously, yes, the pros and
Yeah,
cons of using both, of using both methodologies. But those who have been, into the industry, who have been into this digital industry and working extensively, especially, on the digitalization as well as digital transformation, they would agree on the point that, as far as the digital transformation and the overall concept of digitalization is concerned, agile is again, the most favorite methodology that we should be using. And in
adapt.
fact,
Yeah,
yeah, in fact, in my career, up till now, like even for the last, since I have been doing the traditional project management defined by the PMI for the last 7 years. But with the evolution of, the digitalization, where the entire world has, now targeting to, just going global and
yeah.
have their, online presence everywhere. I have been, like, following the agile methodology for the last 4 years, and I have worked on numbers of, good products that is completely online, and we have delivered them, and we have, just made them live, by using the agile methodology. Yeah.
I think Assad is back with much better internet.
I hope so. Are you? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, 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 fine. So let me introduce myself. I'm sorry to cut your conversation off. I'm a digital project manager at IED, and you can continue. So the show is yours now. I'll just keep on adding, and just let me know what you want to know about it.
Right. Further talking about the digital project management, as I said earlier, that, though we have to follow the predefined guidelines as
Yeah,
provided by the PMI, for the traditional project management. If we have to sum up that overall concept of digital project management in one line, then we can say that it is a streamlined process of
yeah.
managing online projects from concept to execution.
To
All right.
execution, exactly.
Exactly. So
Conception and discovery, research, everything is inclusive.
absolutely.
And it's also about, like, how you're marrying different functions. So I'll speak a little bit about what I go through in my day to day, or my usual projects go through. um, so I am working in the marketing function, and I'm the marketing project manager within the regional team. So we have 8 countries that we deal with right now in the Gulf. And you could say that we're more like an internal agency kind of setup, where we have to execute different campaigns, 360 campaigns, 180-degree campaigns, all of them, like, in a very little time. So we start off with conception, which is the brand theme. Then we have the design creative team, which helps in, like, putting that ideas to life. Then we have the PM team, which is the performance marketing team, which helps us, in suggesting different channels, because we have different channel strategies as well. Then we have the brand team and I together, we discuss the on ground or the traditional marketing strategies or advertising strategies, ATL, BTL, whatever it is. So A to Z, like, whatever the customer touch points could be, we are doing that, be it in the digital ecosystem or outside of it, how you're combining that into a 360-degree marketing scope. And then we also have a budget team. We also have a financial team who's checking whatever we're planning is not going beyond that. So the project manager is that single person who needs to take care of everything, like an all-rounder who needs to ensure that all of these functions are collaborating, all of these departments are delivering on time, because that campaign or that particular project is your baby and you have to deliver it. So, in a nutshell, you have to be an all rounder. You're a generalist. You've worked somewhat in all those functions before. You should have a better understanding of those functions in order to like manage the stakeholders' expectations. So about you, Usman, I don't know. Like, I think you have more on the tech side, the experience. So how does that differ from my side of the day to day?
Right. So when I will like talk about this thing in the within the boundary of digital project management. So what I've been doing right now, and in fact, I would like to share my experience, my previous experience. So yeah, previously for the last 3 years, or you can say almost 2 years, I have been working with a US client, and that is one of the largest, you can say Fortune 500 companies in the US. And though the company basically, they were the gold partner of Microsoft, and they were supposed to sell Microsoft licenses in bulk. So let's say if any company wants to buy hundreds of thousands of Microsoft licenses product, what they have to do, they have to contact to our client. And our client, they have been using some kind of Excel sheet, just to manage their daily operations. And those Excel sheets were highly complex, because they were completely, you can say, created by the data scientists. Because initially did not have any kind of tool that allows
Mm-hmm.
them, to use for that operation, for their operation purpose. So they have been using those Excel, and those are highly complex Excel with numbers of features and numbers of formulas that cannot be used by the customer itself, right? It means they have to hire experienced resources who can use those formulas, who can use those Excel sheets, and then share their requirements for the licenses and all. So what we have done, it's an extensive process, of it's an extensive process of decoding the entire Excel sheet, and bringing the entire Excel operation into a digital platform. Why? If you ask me why, because X is a desktop application, all right, that
Yeah.
gives you hundreds of features, and definitely it is not possible for you to transform or to duplicate every single feature that Excel gives you on the digital platform. Definitely, there are certain limitations. You cannot apply all the formulas. Obviously, you cannot apply every single feature that Excel has. So what we have to do, we actually had a chance to even visit to United States and discuss in detail with the clients about the things, and like how should we do it and all that. And we had extensive meetings of 3 months, where we jot down every single requirement. We made sure that everything remains digital. How it So whenever we have the requirement, we just make sure to have the the mocks ready, to have the wireframes ready, approve them with the client, and just making the, you can say, a non-functional demo for the client's review, so that they can understand how the flow would go, once the application is live, or once the application
Ah,
is
okay. So the customer journeys you kind of showed them in prototype or like static versions of it.
exactly, you can say a kind of a static version, a non-functional demo, you can say, because so that if there's any feedback from the client side before we actually develop that, we
Develop
can
it, exactly. That's the
exactly,
safest approach. Either you
yeah.
do it in Vision or yeah, that's
That is the
that's
beauty of,
easiest.
that is the beauty of digitalization, that it enables
Yeah,
you with the tools, with the technologies, with the skill set, and with the, with the basic, necessities, that allows you to develop something before you actually develop it, right? And
yeah,
because with the help of static, tools that allow us to actually, replicate the same functionality, that how the things should work once it is functional, or once the development has been completed and everything on that. So I think, this is how we have worked with the client to make sure that we have everything ready before we actually develop it. And once the development is completed, we work with with the different teams. As you understand, as you know that whenever we are talking about either project management or digital project management, we as a project manager,
has
we
to
are
work with
required to
multiple teams. Yeah,
exactly. We guys are the captain of the ship. The captain of the ship that
exactly.
is sailing into the into the sea, which is rough and tough. So we have to communicate with across the departments. We have to communicate with the with the BA team. We have to communicate with the QA team. We have to communicate with the clients and the stakeholders and the C-level executives. We have to communicate with
Exactly.
the sales team as
Exactly.
well.
In a
So
nutshell, everyone, pretty much everyone, because
everyone,
it's our
everyone.
project. Yeah.
Exactly. And just as you said, since it's our project and it's our baby, definitely we have to be on top to make sure that we are doing exactly what it is defined, and how it is defined, and how the client exactly needs it. So that is how we have been doing this the kind of project management, and ensuring that our deliverables are on track for for tracking purpose. You can use you can have multiple you can say tools available. You can use Jira, you can use Asana for the project
Asana, Jira,
schedule.
yeah.
For the project
Yeah.
for the project schedule, I think MS Project is one of the best tool that allows you
Best.
to
Yeah.
exactly best tool that allows you to schedule your project. Then of course on top we have Jira. If Jira is there, then obviously you can plan your sprints. So yes, if you are using
You can
agile,
plan your tickets, if there are any QA tickets, if there are any bugs, you
you
can
have
pretty much
reports.
track them. Yeah.
You have the report, actually you have extensive reports there. And especially if you are following agile, then obviously Jira is the best tool for the agile
Yeah.
people. And because it allows you to create your sprints, release your sprints, go through multiple reports that Jira gives you. So I think that's an excellent tool, and that's how we have been doing the things for the digital project management for, yeah.
I think in terms of tools, what I've also used in the past was so it really like so when you change different organizations, it really depends what that organization is using as a tool. But the core, I would say functionality is pretty much similar to different tools. So like you mentioned, Jira. Jira is a really good tool, especially for web and digital like app related projects and technology related projects. It's really good, pretty extensive. Um, there are also like I think for just for the sake of like people's understanding or their knowledge, there are a few more tools. Let's say like if you have different squads, if you have different resources that you're working with, you can actually book them in there are two different tools, which is Harvest and Forecast, somewhat interlinked. In Forecast, you can basically book your squads accordingly, that I need them for this project from this and this time, because you might be dealing with multiple projects and multiple teams. So how do you manage their time? Because their time is and effort is basically dedicated to different projects throughout the year. So that is one where we used to book our resources in Forecast. Let's say if I have a team, which team is working on what project until what time. And then Harvest was mostly about them logging in those hours. Let's say if I've dedicated if dedicatedly if I've taken one resources 60 hours, that resource has to somewhat show me how many hours he has or she has consumed for this particular functionality or this feature or this project or mini project. So I think tools wise, yeah, it's pretty extensive. In terms of online tools as well, I'll tell you my company pretty much uses a lot of online tools, and they want everything in the real time. So to be say dynamic. Okay, I don't know why my internet messed up. So to be more dynamic, we've used online smart sheets. We've used Asana has a lot of new functionalities which they're trying to cope up with. So I would really suggest that if someone is exploring a career in this field, they should really look into these kind of tools. Some of these might also start giving certifications or training classes to you guys later on.
True that. I think,
Um,
yeah, we should be coming on to that topic. Like we should be discussing, in the last part of our discussion about how one can make a career in
exactly,
digital project
exactly.
management. And I think just another thing I want to add here that if you're talking when we talk about digital projects, I would say that digital projects are often more creative in style, right?
Yeah,
Means they are more challenging rather than they are complex like hardcore enterprise market projects. So let's say, for example, if you are doing banking project, and if you are let's say if you are developing an application or the infrastructure for the banking application, or on the other hand, if you are developing a sales panel for the marketing people and the other people to track the sales, both kind of project, both projects have different nature. And if
yeah,
you talk about the sales panel, let's say the sales panel would be more creative in nature, other than it may lack it may include the feature that is not required in the banking application. For example, security. If you talk about security, so banking applications are highly secure than any other software, I believe, right? So though our other applications should be secure, but when it comes to managing the other features and the creativity and the different patterns, in the two projects, they're they're kind of different, a bit different, in terms of creativity and in terms of their style and the pattern, and like how you execute the project and the methodology itself, right? So I think that is about the digital project management. I think we should talk about the evolution, like when businesses or when organizations realize that there should be this thing, how this terminology basically arose in earlier a few years back. Let's say there should be a digital project management. I think we should shed some light on this thing too. Why digital project management, or what are the factors that led to the evolution of this digital project management? Sidra, your take on
Before
it.
before that,
okay, go ahead,
Sidra,
Ghassan.
can I'm sorry, my internet connection is just before that, Sidra, can you just tell me about yourself, how you evolution, matlab, how your evolution took place, as in from traditional marketing, how you transferred
Okay.
yourself into digital marketing,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah. I
we
was
can
coming to that point. Yeah. I was coming to that point, and it pretty much ties in well with what Usman has just
exactly.
asked. So basically, okay, this is funny. When I was doing my BBA and MBA from SZABIST, I had already decided in my mind that I would get into this field of digital marketing because back then, this industry was booming, but it was still in its nascent stage in Pakistan. So I had decided that I'm not going to be like a mediocre or a student who's going to say I want to be a brand manager or marketing manager in a company. So I started off with getting into, because I still consider myself as a millennial, and I at that time it was at peak. So I started off my career with social media marketing. I entered in an agency where I was exposed to a lot of global and local brands, and which kind of helped me, I would say, mold as a person who could come in, the Gulf market and also adapt to it. So I started with social media, then it evolutionized into digital media, and because it's pretty much similar. Social is very small, and then digital ecosystem. When you talk about the digital ecosystem, social is a part of it, and then from digital. Now, okay, the thing is that although I'm not typically in digital project management right now in my current role, but in the agencies that I've worked with, how it evolutionized from social media was before we were only managing social platforms and probably micro websites, but then it moved into larger projects when I switched my careers. I went for digital agencies, worked on different websites, delivering applications, UX labs and service design sprints and whatnot. So I had like exposure to a lot of different things when it evolutionized into digital project management. This is all because of the need of the technology, how you can build more touch points for customers on the digital front. Like how you mentioned, Usman, like different tech, how the evolution happened. I think it it came into being when people started thinking that, okay, mobile first, or like technology first. Before, I think it was technology first, then it became too quickly mobile first, because everyone had two or three mobile phones back in the day. And how are you capitalizing, and how are you increasing your customer base, or your sales or growth base, uh, depending on the nature of your business. So I think, in a nutshell, for me, from what I've seen, that's what the evolution was. And then, in order to deliver all of those products or all of those websites, you had to get into the field of digital project management, where you apply the traditional techniques into the digital ecosystem as well. uh, about you, I think it's also good that you also tell them about your transition of how you started off and how it went into digital. So, or tech, I would say, because I think
Right.
it gives them more understanding of how we all started and how our career paths were set. But just before you start, I just have to I have to finish one more point. So my idea was to eventually enter any corporate or any organizational structure. Why? Because I knew that when I started, at that time, it was more of a specialty function, so it was only in agencies. But by the time, like, there will be a time where companies or corporations would understand the importance of digital as a function, and they would start creating in-house departments for it. And because that skill set would be at that time, when I was thinking, would be very niche, and it would be not like a typical traditional marketing role. They would, somewhat, you would have an edge over different candidates, so you would end up in that particular niche. So I think that kind of thinking, if one can have while they're studying, is good. But I want to know about you as well, like, how did you end up in digital project management?
Right. So, evolution of digital project management. So, guys, when we say evolution, this terminology is not new for the Western part, right? Uh, means like they have been using this digital technology, or they have been using the online technology for so long. Like, I think the first online interaction was in their early 80s or 90s, in the Western part. So they have been using the online technology for so long, and there is no doubt about it. Uh, but for the third world countries like us, for um, when the businesses starts realizing the fact that though they have their physical presence, and they are doing good with that physical presence too, but in order to reach to the global market, or in order to approach to the larger audience in particular, they plan to adapt a platform that allows them that allow them to actually penetrate into the market, into a larger market. And I think uh, social media, or the online platform, or digital platform, they are the best and the cheapest tool at this moment, to maintain or sustain or actually create their global presence. Because it allows you to to have your presence at the global level, with minimum amount. So let's say, if you are shorter in budget, and obviously
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
cannot have a physical premises or offices at multiple locations all over the world, then in this case, what would you need? You would need to have a platform that allows you to communicate, that allows
Hmm.
you to actually address the need of your potential consumers, or your potential prospect, that can coordinate with you based on based on the products or services you're offering. And then this is how you can grow your business, in the for the for in the longer run, you can say.
Yeah. And I think it was also good for startups and SMEs, who didn't have a lot of financial muscle. So, how do you create awareness? How do you educate the customers? Because the customers are also evolving with every passing day. So I think this is also one of the reasons why this digital project, I would not say digital project management, but digital ecosystem came into being, of how you can quickly grab the customer's attention and play with consumer behavior techniques and in a much more affordable way if you don't have enough muscle power, like financial muscle power.
True, absolutely. And so as I was stating earlier, that yes, because of the need that they have to, they have to maintain their global presence, they have to reach the larger audience, they have to communicate through a platform, about their products, about their services. Obviously the end goal is to promote and generate more profits and more revenue for the business. And these online platforms have helped a lot. And even today, I would say almost every single organization, no matter what business are what businesses are they working for, or what are their core market, they have maintained and they have created their social presence, their online presence, and that allows them to to speak to their customer, to respond to their customer
Yeah.
queries, to even they can have multiple online sessions, just like we are discussing things here. And so yeah, the need of the digital project management arises from the fact that businesses need a platform that allows them to build their global presence, without having any kind of physical physical location or physical office
Yeah.
right there at the place. Yeah.
No, I think I totally agree with that point, and I think that's how it created different jobs for people like us who were into project management and also into the tech field or the Internet of Things kind of thing. But how so, okay, before I say that, I think it's also important to tell these guys that what is the significance of the PM role, like how does that role tie in, like if we go back, how does that role tie in, and how that role is a leadership kind of role, because the other roles that you're working with or the departments that you're working with pretty much rely on your you know analysis or your foresight or your preemptive nature, and how your problem solving skills come into play, and what are the challenges that you face. I mean, I can tell you about my challenges, but I would also want to hear what are the challenges that you face mostly while delivering projects from the back end side as well as from the customers. Like when I'm saying customer, your clients would be your customer, not the end customer, but your customer, like you being an intermediary.
Right. So I must say that with this much years of experience, since I have been like doing this project management thing, the additional as defined by the
Yeah.
PMI, and this
Yeah.
digital transformation and the digitalization for the last 10 years. So though I have equipped myself with the skill set where I can allow to mitigate the potential challenges that could harm the delivery. But other than that, we do have challenges. For example, we have issues within the team, we have team conflicts, right? We have issues with the stakeholders sometimes, so let's say if you have multiple stakeholders and they're not ready to give a consent on a single item, right? Sometimes you have to face this kind of issues, most of the time. In fact, if you have
Sometimes it's also technical issues, like probably the stakeholders that you're dealing with from the client side, they are not technical enough and they're trying to twist your leg and arm for different kind of
exactly.
commitments.
So sometimes
Yeah.
exactly. Sometimes they are half technical, which is actually quite dangerous for people like
Yeah.
us,
Too little knowledge is also dangerous. Yeah.
exactly. It is tough to make them understand like how the things are working, and how they should proceed and things like that. Blah blah. So yes, the challenges like team conflicts and just like uh, setting up the expectations, setting up the timeline. Sometimes uh, since you are if you are following the agile model, then definitely what they want to see, they want to see quick releases of your deliverables. This is something that you have to manage sometimes, and this can actually bring fatigue within the team, because if you are planning by short sprints, then definitely it means you have to deliver that real quick fast. and
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
it can actually just put down the overall motivation of or bring some fatigue within the team. So So these are the other kind of challenges,
Yeah.
that we normally at this stage or after having this much years of experience. But if you are new into the market, let's say if you are a beginner, then definitely you can have uh, numbers of I must say you can have a series of challenges which you have to tackle. So for example, first of all, you uh, as a project manager, what I have learned when I was studying my MS at ZABIST, my teacher told me that there are six qualities of a good project manager, and he was quoting some author, I believe, and those and those qualities were communication, communication, communication,
Communication.
follow
Yeah.
up, follow up, follow up. These six are the attributes which he told us. I think I'm not sure if you know Sir Adil Mansoor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
he was my basically visiting lecturer at that time. So he told us about this thing that is something the project manager has to do, and he has to be good at it. If he's not good at it, if he's not good in
Yeah.
communication, if he's not able to understand what the team asks for, and what the team needs, and how to actually how to be on top of everything, then
Yeah.
definitely it could be a challenging for the beginners, to start their career with.
Yeah.
So yes, for the beginners, you have to be a good communicator, guys. You have to be excellent
A
in
people's
writing.
person, more like good in relationship management as well, because you have
Absolutely,
to
because once
communicate with so many people on. So you basically, if you're one person who's taking care of the project, you're basically the spokesperson of all the teams or squads that you're representing, and you're supposed to speak on their behalf. So you need to be good people's person. You have to be thick skinned. To be very honest, you can't like keep negotiating on everything. You have to say no sometimes,
in
and you
fact
have to be firm.
I must say that today's project management is more about people management, friends.
Exactly.
If you ask
Because
me
it's all
why,
about expectation management. Like, how do you deliver this? I don't know. This is a problem. Go fix it. So then it is your problem solving skills. How are you
Hmm.
utilizing your problem solving skills and delivering solutions at the same time in that time frame? So
right?
it's
Absolutely.
it's
And
yeah, it's time sensitive.
as I said, so today's project management, either it's a PMI traditional project management or the digital project management.
Yeah.
Today's project management is more about people management. And if you ask me why, because today you are working with knowledge workers, right? Which
Yeah.
means that the resources that you have, they have been graduated from some good universities, and they are actually knowledge
Hmm.
workers. And if you do not treat your knowledge workers in the way they expect, or they want, or they want to be,
Yeah.
definitely it could be a trouble for you as a manager, that you are not portraying your leadership qualities, and you are not
Yeah.
portraying the desired skill set that has to be there for the project managers, for being a good project manager. Though I must say, you can be harsh sometimes, or you can be strict with the team, but definitely it requires a proper set of procedures to follow.
Definitely. That's why people's person, relationship building. Like, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that is
Exactly.
about more about the
Exactly.
evolution. That is more about the evolution and the project management and the digital project management and the people management stuff. Yeah.
Great. Great.
Okay, so now that we're getting towards the end of the session, can you can we elaborate more about the careers in digital project management, or maybe
Okay, yeah. Before we actually talk about career in
hello, am I
digital
audible?
project management, I would like to highlight some some points regarding digital project management in the COVID, especially. So guys, as you're aware of this fact that we have been into the pandemic situation for the last, you can say, 1.5 year, all right, and it's still almost half of the world, they're actually suffering from the pandemic situation. Businesses are still closed, sometimes they are
Suffering,
partially
struggling, or yeah.
something, and sometimes they are partially closed. At some location businesses are partially closed, somewhere they are fully closed, somewhere people are facing, in fact, we are in a situation where to execute a business is has actually become a real challenge. And we have seen that numbers of businesses, hundreds of thousands of small businesses, they had shut down, just because they cannot actually they either they cannot.
Operate because they're not, yeah, yeah, because they're more like physical or
Absolutely.
tangible businesses. Yeah.
Exactly. So the need for digital project management, we have seen that in this pandemic, where at the government level, it has been it has been announced that businesses can operate, but via digital platform, right? They cannot operate physical. We have seen the situation that where hundreds, in fact all the businesses, anywhere in the world, either in Pakistan, in UAE, in Saudi Arabia, in USA, anywhere, businesses were operating either from home, or they were operating, from their digital platform that that they have developed to communicate within their team, or that they have developed to communicate with their clients and everything. So yes, the need for the digital platform has actually become ever important after this pandemic. It means that you have to have a platform where you can communicate, or you can actually, if not communicate, you can actually at least operate your business, through these
Yeah,
kind of platforms. This is important uh, because a business is not just a sole entity. There are hundreds of employees associated with the business as well. So just
yeah,
to ensure, they that their their business is not hurt, and they're not in any kind of, and they're not in kind of any jeopardy. They have to ensure that they have something, they have some online tool available, to execute or to run their business operations, simultaneously, or you can say in parallel somewhere. Yeah.
so
Yes.
I'll quickly tell you guys an interesting insight what happened with us. Our, like, the nature of the business was purely digital, the one that I'm working in right now, right? Food delivery business. So it's a product, it's an app. And how the pandemic kind of, I would say, boosted our line of work was, if you're a restaurant, or if you're a dark kitchen also, or cloud kitchen, what's happening is that now your dine-in or is closed. You cannot deliver, you cannot really open dine-in, and the only platform you have is food deliveries, right? You're allowed delivery hours, at least in this part of the world. They allow deliveries throughout the operating hours, but no dine-in. So businesses that were not with us before, they actually came to us because of this entire digital presence scenario, because they don't have a website, they don't have an app, they don't have any means of delivering their food through the platform. So how do they get the orders? They were, asking us, they were requesting us. So we got an influx of a lot of businesses that kind of understood this in a very short amount of time. And our work, like, believe it or not, like, it got multiplied by 2 or 3 times. And we were so many little resources, I would say, that our working hours were crazy. And how this pandemic kind of boosted, because the nature of our work was already digital. So even, this pandemic kind of, I would say, gave them a learning the hard way, that okay, they need to be present digitally. If not by
Yeah.
themselves, use an aggregator, or use a platform where they can at least, list their services or their products. So I think this is also, I would say, again, evolution a little bit built in from a
Yes.
business point of
Yeah.
view.
Just
So yeah,
And in fact, I was just reading
so
an
I'm sorry.
article,
Just to
that
yeah, yeah.
only in pandemic, like in
sorry.
2020, Amazon hit the record ever revenue, and they hit the revenue of $386 billion only in 2020. And that is why, because everything has been
The
shut
nature,
down.
yeah, the
Exactly.
nature,
Since they
yeah.
have since they have realized the need of going digital,
Hmm.
and they have had established a kind of platform that allows the entire world to buy any kind of product from their platform. So just
Hmm.
hitting the target of $386 billion, it's huge. It's like huge. You cannot match it, I think, in any times to come. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to sum up, so basically, the pandemic gave us more avenues to basically how we can operate, and it gave us smarter options and
Smarter options and smarter
Smarter options,
solutions,
smarter
yeah.
tools, smarter solutions, smarter ability to think, more
Yeah,
creative. Like, because, it's not just about going digital. It's basically about
Exactly.
creating a solution that actually address the needs of the business as well, right? And that can
Yeah,
facilitate the
yeah.
consumers and the end users. So yeah, that's I
I
think
think I
about
think I would give you an interesting example here as well, because I like these examples because they're not
sure.
bookish, they're more practical.
If you want,
So
Jansil, we will talk about the careers and then we'll take
yeah,
some
yeah,
questions.
definitely, definitely. So the best part was, or the most interesting part was, that we all know the global brand Starbucks. When here in the Gulf, there's a lot of concept of coffee. I'm sure Usman, in your side as well, that's the scenario. Okay, what happened? Starbucks never used to deliver coffee. Okay, and pretty much it's like, on the go, you pick it up, drive-throughs, or before going to work, you pick it up. No one wants their coffee delivered because it comes cold and so on and so forth, and spillage. Imagine Starbucks realized that they're losing out on their potential customers. They started, or they went for the idea of delivering coffee, okay, through an aggregator. And believe me, their sales and their, I would say, brand presence on social and on digital platforms was at a rise at that point in time, and people were so happy. And the consumers were happy that, okay, if we can't go and to Starbucks, how do you bring that to our homes? And while
Mm-hmm.
working, like, because the motivation levels were zero, because you're working from home, you're stuck to that environment. If you have a family, you're stuck there, you're closed in a room, you're demotivated, you're not meeting people, you're socially distant. So that, the idea of giving a coffee, on the go, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, it comes to you. Businesses like those, which are more on the socializing part, like you go to a cafe or you drink coffee with your friends, you started bringing that to home. So that is also how a lot of businesses, like, I would say,
Transform.
evolved. Yeah, and transformed because of the situation, the global situation. And I think it's good that now, I mean, there's much more awareness, and it's more like a necessity, more, rather than an option for
Mm,
businesses to understand that
agreed.
how this would help them throughout.
Agreed, agreed, agreed. So now that I think we've covered most of the topics, and we have like 10, 15 minutes left, so we need to answer questions as well in the end. Just to tip it off, let's talk about the careers in digital project
Yeah.
management. How are how are the new students and those making careers in digital marketing can learn how practical
Right. I think Sidra, you should shed some light on career in digital project management, and then we'll take some
yes,
questions. All right.
yes.
Okay, so careers in project management really, really depends of how you want to start your careers, guys. Because for me, to be honest, to get my maximum exposure, I went into the agency side, because when you're working in an agency, you have the opportunity to work with different clientele, be it FMCG, which are our country's youth is crazy for, that we want to go into an FMCG company. But FMCG, or be it banking, be it beauty, be it retail, you get the maximum exposure over there, and you get to see the different kinds of practical examples and situations that you've been thrown in. um, it kind of helps you in understanding the entire, I would say, functional aspects. And then once, when you have a grasp, I would say, become an all-rounder. Try and look into different parts. Let's say if you're not technical, that's fine, but you should at least read up a little bit, or try and understand from the teams that you're working with within your professional environment. um, in terms of careers, I think what helped me was, believe me, the agency exposure, and then working with different clients. And the more projects come in, or the more you're selling to your clients, if you're facing
Mm.
the client, especially like if you're in the account management side of it, you get to know like what the requirements are, and somewhat you try and sell them, or you try and give them the solutions that we can work on this. Even if you've never worked on it before, if you have a team in the back end, you can work on delivering those projects. So if you start with that, and then you want to focus more later on in your life, I think that is what I would suggest from my personal experience, because it really helped me a lot. uh
So
but- Yeah.
While a student is studying, what would you recommend him, for instance, someone being on the creative side to go on the social media side, and someone who's good with maths, he can maybe select data analytics as his course. So would you comment anything on that?
Yeah, so it really depends. So, I mean, I would not say math. I would say if you're really, uh, if you're a number cruncher, but at the same time you like giving
Someone
research
selecting their
based.
career.
Okay, did I get hung or like, is Usman gone?
I think
No.
you're audible, so yeah, you can carry on. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm audible. So see, it really depends, like if whether you want you're a number cruncher, or if you like working pre, like in the research side, or post research, like post analytics side. Really depends on what you want.
Yes.
In terms of creativity that you're talking about, yes, if you're into content writing, if you're into creating meaningful content strategies, definitely look out for this, because mostly, like, when I was also working in agencies, we used to meet different traditional agencies as well and used to brainstorm together. So, in order to come up with a
Right.
unified 360 campaign, also, social
Mm.
could be the platform you start off with, because then you have to
Yeah.
unify that across, or you need to have an overarching content strategy, and then you need to have buckets of content that goes on different platforms or channels that are more, suitable. What are the CTAs? So it really depends on how you want to establish that. Like, I was a person who really liked working on content at that point of time. I used to think that, okay, caption is there, a CTA is there, there should be a little bit of visual text as well, right? So it really depends on what you are into and what appeals to you. I, to be very honest, was a core believer of creating strategies, and I think it helped me build my career, because if you're working on strategies, it pretty much helps you, because you're conceptualizing certain things, you're coming up with research. So holistically, you're working on a lot of different functions, and then you're also making sure, because it was your strategy or your conception or your idea, you would make sure that the other team members of the squads that you're working with are somewhat delivering it properly, like whether it's they're doing justice with it or not. So that kind of, I would say, gives you better understanding of where you want to be, and then I paved my way that way. uh, Usman, I think I lost you, or my internet is towards the end of this session. I think we're facing some technical issues. Can you hear me, Usman? I really don't know. Okay, I am the only one left now. So I need to understand how to take comments. Okay, I think Ghassan, I lost Usman, but let's just
Yeah, I think
take some
so.
questions, because we have only
Yeah,
7 minutes left.
because we're short on time. So we have Miss Nadia Pasha. So she just asked us, what does it take to manage and become a digital project manager? So you can quickly run through
I
all the
think we
questions
I
and.
think we did touch upon these topics in the beginning when we were discussing, like while we were
Okay,
discussing.
okay, okay,
So I
okay.
would say, again, we said people skill, communication skill. You need to be tough. You need to have the foresight. You need to be able to plan and organize things accordingly. Also manage C levels, because you deal with different kinds of people. So you need to adapt to
Mm,
them, and you need to give them that kind of information, specific information, not too much information as well. Um,
okay.
and also an all-rounder, I would say, not just be a people's person, also understand what's happening in the back end, like,
So you need
understand
to.
what your team is delivering and not trying to fool you. If you
Mm,
understand this
oh,
this technical bit takes this much time, or this is the
I know, I know.
functionality, or yeah, so this is something which you should be on top of, I would say. Okay, you again lagged. I will read the question. How to measure and improve digital transformation ROI? Okay, so this is basically an extension, I would say. You, like I mentioned, that you have, when you were injecting some monetary value. Now it could be in terms of your marketing spends, or it could be in terms of how much money you've put in the overall business, or in a launch, or in a product launch, like, so it really has different kinds of categories, to be honest. I will talk about from a marketing point of view, to be very honest, because we put a lot of marketing spend on different kinds of channels. We have channel strategies. So how are we checking that on the ROI? Purely based on either acquisitions, or based on the sales or the order growth that we have, or the frequency of orders we are receiving, or the
Just
subscriptions.
to add on, don't you think it also depends on your product as well? Say, for instance, you have like a financial product. You can maybe choose different platforms
Yeah,
like a
yeah. So that's
fun
exactly,
related.
yeah, yeah. So that's exactly. So
Because
I'll
I
tell you
remember.
one thing. Yeah, yeah. So for example, you have one product, but you have one main hero product, but then you have sub products as well. So it could be that as well, like how you're managing your marketing mix in creating awareness about the product. And when I'm saying awareness, you're also injecting some budgets or funds into that channel strategy, right? So of course you have the sources. You can check how you're receiving those customers, or how you're receiving those acquisitions or subscriptions, I would say. For example, I would give you a quick example. We are dealing with food as the hero, right? But then we also have verticals like grocery, or flowers, or coffee. You could be a food customer, but you must have never ordered from the grocery category. So you're still not an acquisition in the grocery vertical. You're an acquisition on the main product, but not in the sub product or the sub offering. So how are we checking that? There is an analytics team, like we discussed. We have a post analytics team, which is the business intelligence team, which keeps on tracking different campaigns. We have trackers, because it's based on a single click, or it's based on different kinds of offerings we're having. So it's pretty much backed up with data, I would say. So you have to build those dashboards in the beginning, and then track them post campaign. Sometimes we do a campaign as well, because we need to check whether the campaign is creating a loss for us, is not that much successful. Then we have to quickly implement different strategies. Thanks, ma'am. Vajia. Any certification that can help? To be very honest, PMP kind of helps you if you're doing traditional project management. But to be honest, if you're working in the practical world, it's much larger than that. Like, you get better exposure, you get better scenarios, and which you might have not faced in that PMP. I would say certification. There's Scrum Master, and there are a few more. I would say from digital perspective, people should also start looking at different certifications that Google is offering, and Sitecore. Like, there are web systems that or web interfaces that we have, which people should look at if they want to understand, not fully development related, but content related or marketing point of view, if they have that kind of interest. Which is the best software online available to manage short-term and long-term projects with integration of teams? Okay, this is something which we've already discussed before. Usman and I were discussing. There was Jira. Basically, Jira is really good for long-term projects. And it's online, and everyone can have visibility across projects that you have. Short term, I would say that if you are not too much if you're not dealing with a lot of technical projects, and if you need something which has a mixture of tech plus fun side marketing and interest based or aesthetics based, I would say do check tools like Asana, or free tools like Trello, or there's one more that we were exploring, Monday.com, but my favorites are Asana or Trello, to be very honest, because it helps you work with different kinds of team. Tosif has asked social media versus digital marketing. Okay. So social media and digital marketing, social media is a smaller part of the digital ecosystem. Digital is much bigger. I would say definitely digital now, because I evolved from a social media resource into a digital media, and now I'm working in the traditional marketing field, like an overall ecosystem. The only thing is that the business that I'm dealing with is digital in nature. So I would say definitely digital marketing, because it gives you much more options. It gives you options to go into apps, products, websites, microsites, performance marketing, web development, stuff like that. So definitely digital marketing. I think I've answered all the questions. There were so many questions that, and I can't. He dropped. Usman dropped, I think. Okay, you were lagging again. Ghassan, you're lagging. I think we're pretty much done with the questions. So, any final thoughts? No, I can't. I really can't. You're really not audible, Ghassan. I really can't understand a single word. I really can't. I really can't hear you. Sorry, I'm so sorry for that. But I think it was a nice session to begin with. And I think thanks, Ghassan, for trying really hard to join us. I think Usman is also back up. Hi, Usman. I don't know if it's my internet, guys, or yours. I can hear both of you lagging, but uh,
Can you hear me?
yeah, now I can hear you. Definitely, I can hear you.
All right. So I think almost we have covered almost everything, and you have answered the question. Basically,
Yeah.
I was at the back channel, and I was waiting for Ghassan to add me when you were answering all the questions. And since Ghassan was not there, I asked one of the team members from there, "Okay, please add me so that I can just wrap it up."
Ah, okay, okay. But
Yeah.
I think please add in anything that you think, because there were a couple of questions regarding softwares online available, definitely, and even ROI related. If you could add some, yeah, shed some light on it. Osman, you're still lagging. I think we should. I think we should be able to. I think the internet is given up on us and is now
All right.
asking
Can
us
you
to
hear me
leave.
now, Sidra?
Yes, yes, much better.
Okay, so I was asking about if you're a beginner, that I think Basecamp is the best tool that individuals or the beginners can get a start with. They
Yeah,
can
yeah.
review how they can plan their project on the Basecamp, and then once they are like equipped with the with the tool set, they can understand how they can plan the thing. Then they can go for the advanced project management tools like Asana, like Jira, like
Jira,
Trello.
yeah, yeah.
And
I literally forgot Basecamp. That's a good one, because that was something that I did very much in the beginning of my career. That's so true.
All right.
I think we need to wrap up the session, guys. I'm so sorry, but for the audience, I think we're lagging a lot. So
We've covered most of the topics. So thank you so much, Sidra, for your insights, and I hope we.
okay, I lost him again. But yeah, it was a really nice time talking to you guys both. I think you're still in the back end, but uh, thank you very much for hosting this session. And if people have other questions, they can probably leave it in,
And they can leave a comment, and
yeah,
we'll
post
be fully
session, and we
answering them.
will try and answer that definitely. But most of them
Inshallah.
were
Thank.
basically covered.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you
All
all.
right.
Thank you all once again.
Thank you
Apologies for
very
all the
much.
internet delay. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Thank you, Mr. Sidra. Thank you, Mr. Usman.
Thank you.
Allah
Yeah.
Hafiz.
Thank you. Thank you, Ghassan, and
Allah
thank you,
Hafiz.
Usman. Take care. Bye bye. Allah Hafiz.